apartment right now. It's a beautiful day out. It is in the mid-70s, which is great for November. However, it is raining outside, and I've already gone caching in the rain once this week and didn't feel like getting soaked. So, first of all, let me figure out if my technology is working. Sorry for the delay on the stream. I meant to start about 20 minutes ago, but ran into some technical difficulties and a little bit of a lighting situation because I obviously expected to be outside today, not inside. So first of all, I wanted to say thank you to my 2 followers. It's really exciting for me. This is my first week of streaming, and Carlo Observateur and Alphakin 1989, thank you so much for following me and supporting me. All right, so let's get started. Yesterday, we went out and found a trackable in a cache I had already visited. I sort of talked about the importance of logging trackables and making sure that you don't just take someone's trackable without logging it. However, in all of my ranting yesterday, I did not log my trackable because I thought it would be a good opportunity to show you guys how to log your trackables. So here I am on geocaching.com on the website, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to hide the screen from you guys for 1 second, just because I don't want you to be able to see the trackable number. Not that I don't trust you guys. However, that's sort of the point, right? Is to keep it kind of safe, so the number doesn't get revealed. And actually, before I do that, I'll fix the display. So, the cache that I found yesterday I'm going to go into the cache. First of all, can we just appreciate how many caches there are out there to find? I think it's something like over 2 million globally. Here we are. So this was the cache I found a little while ago and went back to the trackable. Went back for the trackable. You can see here the geocoin, which is a type of trackable, just like a travel bug is a type of trackable, is still listed as being there. And so I wanted to log it on stream for all of you. So the goal of this trackable is to go traveling from cache to cache and to visit all the states in the Union in hopes to see the famous places. So you can see here, so far this coin, which was placed in 2007, has traveled over 87,000 miles, and we can actually click here to view the map. Wow, you can see all the places it's been. That's pretty cool. So I'm guessing based on the name it started somewhere in the Midwest, but it's been out to Hawaii, over to Europe, and pretty much all around the US. So as I said, I'm bringing it to Boston next week. I hope to find other trackables that I can also bring to Boston. Okay, it has already been to Boston, but it'll go back. So it was placed in the cache I visited yesterday on September 9th. So I'm going to go back to the log of the actual cache, log a new visit, and you can't log a cache multiple times, but if you return to a cache, the site will allow you to write a note or log that you didn't find it. So I'll say return to grab geocoin for my trip to Boston. Cool. So now I'm going to grab the trackable and log it. And this is the part that I'm not going to show you folks, only because as as detailed on the forums, and you can go and look at the trackable forums on geocaching.com. A lot of the geocaching community talks about how frustrating it is where maybe one person logs the trackable but saves the identifying code on the trackable and distributes it at some kind of event, maybe a mega event, and all of a sudden the coin is in Germany at the same time that it's in California, and that's not possible, and Groundspeak will actually freeze the trackable information, which renders it pretty much useless, which is not helpful. So I'm just going to, real quick, cover up the tracking code section. Well, type of log will be retrieved. And now I'm up here. So for comments, I'm just going to enter the tracking code real quick. And this is entering the tracking code is the only way that you can actually log the find. So returned to a cache I had previously found to grab this trackable, bringing it to Boston with me on my next trip there next week. Found this trackable on my Twitch live stream. That's all of you. Okay. So I'm going to submit this. I want to show you something else about the logged visits. Just trying to grab my own image from up here. Hey, oh, there we go. Okay. So this number up here, the TL10T0KW9, is the reference code for the trackable. So if you want to talk about the trackable using either its name or another identifying code, you can use this code without risking exposure of that unique identifier that I mentioned earlier. So every trackable has two codes. One will be the one that allows people to log it, and that's the one that you want to keep relatively private. The other one is the code that is publicly accessible that other people can use to mention it that won't risk others logging the code. I hope that makes sense. But as always, if you have questions, just let me know. So now I'm returning to the home page of the cache, or the trackable. And the rule with trackables is you want to move them along every 3 weeks. As I mentioned yesterday, if you don't think that you'll be able to move a cache along, or a trackable along, sorry, at all, definitely don't take it. Leave it for someone else to move along. If you think it will take you longer than 3 weeks, you can leave it where it is, because supposedly there's a trackable owner out there who's following the progress of this trackable. And if you're going to hang on to it for 6 months, a year, 18 months, that's not a lot of fun for the trackable owner. Okay, this is kind of interesting. I was in Massachusetts for a period of time and looking for caches in the area where I was, and I noticed that there was a trackable and a cache. I knew I was heading out of state for a little while, so I wanted to go grab the trackable, and I went into the trackable history off of the cache page. And the trackable owner had routinely been posting both in the cache page and on the trackable page that they were really irritated because they had dropped the trackable off 2 years ago. And what they were doing was pleading with the geocaching community saying, can anyone go out there and grab this trackable and move it along? It's just been sitting there for 2 years. We don't want to lose it. We don't know if the cache itself has been misplaced. Can anyone go out to find it? So I ended up writing back to the owner and saying, I'm going out to find that cache tomorrow. I'll move it along and make sure to take the trackable with me. And they did. I did. And they were grateful, and I ended up moving it to somewhere in Washington, D.C. So log a significant number of miles. But as always, if you notice that there's a trackable out there that you want to take before you go out caching, definitely look at the goals of the trackable before you go out. As I mentioned yesterday, recently there was a trackable that I recently moved along because the trackable is trying to make its way to its trackable owners in West Virginia, and I placed it near West Virginia, hoping that it would sort of carry its way on. And I went back a couple days later onto the site to make sure that it had actually been moved along. And sure enough, the people who came after me took the trackable and took it up to Boston. Cool. Knowing that I'll be up in Boston, I'm now watching the trackable. Just like you could click this button here and add it to your list of watched trackables or actual caches. And so as you can see, I'm watching that trackable to see if it's anywhere in Boston near where I will be, so I could maybe move it along, try and move it along to West Virginia once again.